Sin is so slippery and it is so deadly. Sin is slippery and deadly. We're in Matthew chapter 14, and this is a mixture of a clarification and a flashback. So we're told in the beginning of chapter 14 that King Herod, at that time, Herod the Tetrarch, heard about the fame of Jesus. So he's heard about all the wonderful things that Jesus has been doing, hearing about all these miracles. And then Herod says to his servants, "This must be John the Baptist." So at this point, chapter 14, verses 1 and 2, we are currently walking through the current time frame. So what has happened in chapter 13, this is kind of a summary statement and a transitional statement in Matthew's gospel. So he's saying this must be John the Baptist. He has been raised from the dead. He's hearing about all these miracles. He said this must be John the Baptist who is raised from the dead. That is why these miraculous powers are at work with him. The problem is that Herod is thinking back to the sin that he had done in the past with John the Baptist. John the Baptist at this point has been beheaded. John the Baptist has already been killed by King Herod. He has suffered as a martyr. Now, in chapter 14 and going, verse 3 and forward, there's a flashback. Matthew is telling you what happened in the past between Herod and John the Baptist. This is all to let us know this is why Herod is thinking this way, because he is really becoming convicted about what he has done. Now, we know that King Herod doesn't respond to the conviction the way that he has, but definitely sin has multiplied, and now it is really working on his heart and even hardening him even more. So, verse 3 says, Herod had seized John. So, remember, sin is slippery. So, Herod actually imprisoned a messenger of God. And out of all the messengers to catch and put away, John the Baptist would not be one that you want to be fighting against, the one that was considered the greatest of the prophets because he was preparing the way of Jesus Christ. So Herod seized John, bound him, and put him in prison. Why? For the sake of Herodias, his brother Philip's wife. Now, this is the slipperiness of it. Herod seized John, put him in prison, and then after that, going into that, as we will see the story unfold, he will end up having him beheaded because of what Herodias does, the little trick and the little plan that she puts in place to have John the Baptist beheaded. Now, King Herod uh, committed a sin by marrying his brother's wife, taking her and marrying her. John then saw this sexual and immoral sin, and John points out to King Herod, he says, "It is not lawful for you to have her." And though he wanted to put him to death, King Herod did what? He feared the people because they held him to be a prophet. Not that Herod thought he was a prophet. He was just afraid of the people because they thought that John the Baptist was a prophet. So here it is. Herod's life is just full of lust. It's full of him running after things that he wants to have and giving himself whatever he wants. And so one of those things was his brother Philip's wife. He takes her. Then he is convicted by the prophet of God. This is where the slipperiness of sin happens. And John confronts him. He could have responded. He could have changed. He could have made things right. He doesn't. He listens to his new wife, and he has John put in prison. Furthermore, then this goes into some reckless party that we will have explained to us in the following readings, and it leads all the way to John the Baptist's death. What I want for you and I to think, and what we want to walk away with, is that we got to realize that sin is slippery, and then it is deadly. It slips into death. Death, perhaps true death, but then also it slips into just the death of our soul in what we want to do. So I want to warn you, as John warned King Herod, if there's something that you are doing that is wrong, you can untangle the problem today. Start untangling and unraveling the problem God's way. It may take you months. It may take you years. It may take you a few hours. Who knows how long it would take? but you're going to have to do the uncomfortable business of unraveling the problem and fixing it God's way. Are you going to have to pay a price? You better believe it. Is there going to be consequences? Absolutely. But you're going to be much better off right now unraveling the problem God's way rather than continue to slip into more and more sin that will ultimately kill your soul, do all kinds of damage to you and your family, those around you. So take God's warning today. Put off the sin and put on the newness and the righteousness of God. I pray that has been a blessing to you, and I'll see you in the next video.